Hi, my name is Amaya, and for this project, I have decided to take an interest in one of the classes that I'm taking. I'm taking a humanities class right now in which we're studying different cultures, and one culture that really stuck out to me was South African culture because the art in that culture, they take a very interesting approach to it. Um, since some of the people in South Africa and parts of South Africa don't have as much, some of their art is used from recycled goods such as their clothing and other things such as recycled trash or plastics. Um, One of the artists that stuck out to me, in which I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to look at my computer screen for that. His name is a bit hard to pronounce, but he goes by the name of I'm sorry for the pronunciation, um, Mabonjeni Bootlazy. Sorry, it's very hard to pronounce, but in his artwork, he's famous for using recycled plastics such as like water bottles, maybe like old old cooking containers, or just anything like recycled bottle caps, anything that you might think of. And he's also widely known for using for having very textured art, and that's one of the things I wanted to convey in my art. It was a bit harder to do since I don't really have those materials laying around. We try and with my family, we don't really recycle as much. We kind of just throw it away. But I wanted to try and recycle for this. So for the headscarf that you can see, I don't have the photo with me right now, but for the headscarf on the woman, on the South African woman that I chose, her headscarf, I chose to use many different magazine parts, but since in South African culture they use a lot of different colors and patterns and textures on their headscarves, I chose to take different magazine parts that had different textures and very live colors that stood out, which was very fun to make. It was a bit difficult looking for all the different pieces, but it was really fun. For the face, it was a bit difficult because I wanted to use in South African culture they have a thing which is called ochre, which is it's a natural element that they use. It's kind of like a dried clay, and which most South African artists may use it to, they mix it up with water and it forms kind of like a chunky kind of paste, and they use it as like paint, like a natural paint. So I wanted to recreate that. What I chose to do is I chose to use some of my old oil pastels, kind of chunk chunk off a few pieces, and use some water to smooth it out, and that's what I used for the face. And I tried to stick to primary colors because I wanted the other elements to like her clothing and her jewelry to pop out. But speaking of the jewelry, this project was actually a tad bit fun for me, but also challenging. I went to the thrift store to try and find something that looked like it could have been South African jewelry or anything of the sort. So that was also fun. So all of her jewelry and the beads and her earrings and such, those are all thrifted from the local thrift store that I have down the street. Um, for her clothing, I also wanted to use some recycled things. So instead of doing the kind of ochre thing, um, I tried to replicate that, but I wanted to use recycled face paint, and that was actually it was much easier than the than using the oil pastels. But I took that, a few chunks of that, and I used different colors because I wanted her outfits to stand out. Um, I used that. I mixed it with just a little bit less water, and I ended up smearing that and kind of making it look like a little colorful collage. One of the other things that they use in South African culture is charcoal. And charcoal and ochre really dates back to, you can see it in some of the caves in South Africa that date back to over like 100,000 years old, which is super cool. So I wanted to replicate that. So in her neckline and some of the facial features like her eyebrows, I ended up putting some natural charcoal in there, and that's another thing that I didn't have at home, but I wanted to go buy from the store. But it was super cool making this project, and I was really inspired by some of the materials that were used in some of the culture, and I wanted to use that in my art. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it because I really enjoyed making it. But thank you.